first recorded cricket match took place at Newdigate in 1886 on Easter Monday when Newdigate played against Bear Green. Then from right up until the early 1950s they played here on this field at Parkgate. After the match the players crossed over the road and they came to the Surrey Oaks where Mr Butcher, the landlord, provided teas and refreshments for all the players. On one special occasion Wilfred Bird, the rector's son, came down aboard a team. He was a star player. He played for Middlesex and the MCC. In the early 1950s, the village purchased these three fields, East Buckhurst, West Buckhurst and Buckhurst Meadow, as a memorial to the fallen of both World Wars. The village field, the club and the village hall are all administered by a registered charity entitled the Newdigate Community Trust. Every single organisation that uses this facility is actually able to become a trustee, and the cricket club is a trustee on that charitable trust. In return, we have a licence to play cricket in perpetuity, but we have to maintain the ground and pay a small capitation fee. By the 1990s the club was really struggling. The side was getting older together, and this meant that a lot of Saturday matches were cancelled, and really there was only regular cricket on a Sunday. The club financially was really being held together by the midweek side, which had just been formed and which today is still absolutely thriving. Clearly something needed to be done, and in 1993 Don and Annette Jones started a junior section, and it is no exaggeration to say that the very existence of the club owes much to this initiative. The introduction of a junior section had an immediate effect upon senior cricket, and in 1996 the club fielded 2 Sunday teams and a regular Saturday team. In 1999 the club joined the Surrey Downs League and entered the second 11 in 2001, and in 2009 the first 11 were runners-up in the First Division and were pipped at the final post on the last day of the season. A pleasing aspect of the way cricket is played at Newdigate has been recognised by the fact that in 2005 and 2008 the club has been awarded the League Sportsmanship Trophy. 2008 saw the introduction of a weekend third 11, and in 2009 the club was accepted into the Surrey Trust Development League, where they played and committed themselves well against some of the top sides in the country. Everything on the playing front and the organisational front is rosy, but we have a very real problem. Our pavilion is rotting. This pavilion and the scout hut behind were actually built as London prefabs for housing people who lost their homes during the Blitz. They were supposed to last 10 years. This has now been here for something like 60 years. Yes, it's been brick-clad, it's been enlarged, but the reality is that the frame in the roof and the frame in the floor is actually rotting, and we still have an exposed asbestos wall. All our equipment is stored inside this tiny garage, so when we want to get the mower out to cut the outfield, we have to move 4 other mowers and a scarifier before we can get to it. Other equipment is stored in this porter cabin, and there of course we have the scout hut. With over 90 juniors, plus their parents and carers, and over 60 playing members, the clubhouse is just too small. Ideally our under-18s should change separately from adults, and we should provide separate changing facilities for girls and women. In order for us to fulfil our equity policy, access for disabled people needs to be improved. We are desperate for more storage facilities for cricket gear and ground equipment. Using the offices of qualified club members, we have now drawn up plans to build a new pavilion and scouts hut. The idea is that both organisations raise funds individually, except for some grants when a combined application might be more appropriate. The new pavilion will be slightly larger than the existing one, but will be built on the same plot, facing south-east as recommended by Sport England. The home and away dressing rooms will be larger and in accordance with ECB recommendations, and they will both have annexes to allow for female or under-18 changing facilities. The club area, bar and kitchen will all be larger.
The garage and porter cabin will be demolished, and a building joining the pavilion and scout hut will home disabled toilets and sufficient storage for cricket gear and ground equipment. A new scouts hut will be built in the same position, but it will be slightly larger, and the existing oak tree will become the main feature of the development. Initial budgets indicate a cost of about £350,000 for the pavilion and £100,000 for the scouts hut. We are appealing to you, the membership, to help financially so as to create a legacy for the cricket club, the scouts and the village for many, many years to come. We hope to use local craftsmen and create a building for Newdigate people by Newdigate people. So please help us to turn a dream into a reality.